Hello again and welcome back to my channel. I am here today to talk to you guys about the types of things that you might want to think about doing to make sure you're ready for when the children come back in September. So obviously we've only got a few days left when this video will be coming out, so you can use this as a kind of checklist to see what things have you done, what things you have forgotten to do. And as always, if you think there's anything I forgot or anything you always do that I haven't mentioned, then leave it in the comments down below and hopefully we can build a nice big list for those teachers coming in maybe as an NQT or as a trainee teacher that they're thinking, what do I do? What do I need at this point? Because I know this was something I wished I could have had when I first started. I wasn't really sure what types of things I needed to have ready, what types of things I needed. And that was mainly my fault for not asking the questions. But had I seen something like this, then this would probably have helped me quite a bit. So yeah, please drop a comment down below if there's anything that you think I've forgotten, and let's see what you think of the things that I do to get ready for September. First off, number one, to make sure you are ready in September is to have had a summer break, okay? Now, as teachers, we are very, very lucky with the amount of holiday we get. We get 13 weeks every single year of holiday. Now, of course, teachers work during their holidays. They'll do a bit of work during every single one of their holidays, but your summer holidays are especially long at 6-ish weeks. And so make sure you have a bit of a break. The way I do it is I always finish school on the final day. I have about 4 weeks where I don't do any work. I put my laptop away, don't touch anything. And then around about 2 weeks to go, I will start to think about what I need to do. I'll start to make a plan. I'll start to go through my list and check that I've got everything ready. So yeah, make sure that you've had a break. If you work throughout the whole 6 weeks, then you're going to burn out. You're going to run out of mental energy to get everything done. You'll end up being quite exhausted by the time you get to Christmas, because this first term is the hardest term, as any teacher will tell you. It's the longest term. It can get to be a bit of a fight by the end of the year to get to Christmas holidays. So yeah, make sure you've had a break. Go do something you enjoy, especially if you're going into your NQT year. It gets a bit crazy. It gets hard. There's a lot of long hours involved in your first year, and your work-life balance is something you need to really focus on to keep it there, to keep it. Again, this is something I'm saying from past experience. My work-life balance in my first year was horrendous. I had very little time to do the things I enjoyed, and my mental health really struggled because of that, and it ended up being quite tough for me. So if it's, for me, going to the gym, it's going swimming, it's just getting outside, they're the things I love to do, and I didn't do enough of it at all in my first year. So your summer break is the time where you can do that in abundance. You can do that as much as you want, whenever you want. So make sure those at least 4 weeks, make sure you go and enjoy yourself. Go and do those things. See friends and family, travel the country, travel the world. What if you can, obviously we can't at the minute, but do as much as you can safely, and hopefully you'll be ready when the time comes to get cracking, ready for September. The next thing I would say, which I think is quite important, is to make sure when you do go back to work, so let's say this is the last 2 weeks in August, you're starting to think about what you need to do. I like to say, try to check in with your work, but don't jump in straight away. Because if you just jump into your work 100 miles an hour, you can end up getting a bit overwhelmed, thinking, oh, I've got 100 things to do. I've got a to-do list that never ends. I don't know what to do first. So start by looking at a list. Start by planning out what you actually want to get done. Use this, use comments that people leave, use other videos that people have put on Facebook, on YouTube. Think about what type of things you want to achieve by the time the children get into school in September. Make sure you start with that list, but start slowly. Have a timetable to have it all done by September. Make sure that over the 2 weeks, over the time you've left yourself to get it done, you get it all done. But space it out, do it evenly. So as always, that work-life balance is at the forefront. You're not spending 20 hours a day just sitting doing schoolwork, because in the long run it'll be really bad for your mental health. It'll be bad for the children because they won't be getting the best you in class. So yeah, check in, but don't jump in straight away. Give yourself time. The other thing that of course you need to have ready for September, and this is one that I think is very different if you talk to different teachers. So I will give my experience, but I'm sure if you talk to different teachers, they'll have different experiences too. And it's probably the thing that if you talk to teachers, they will dislike the most about the work they have to do during the summer, and it is of course their planning. So at your school you will almost certainly require some type of planning. Now some schools do short-term planning, medium-term planning and long-term planning. Some schools plan on slides, so the slides that they teach with are their planning as well. Some schools plan on kind of mind maps. And again, that is up to your school. You need to ask the questions at your school of what is expected when you come in September of your planning. And again, what I just did there, asking the questions, is something that I'm still learning, but I've learned is, for me, one of the hardest things. In my AQT, I didn't like asking the questions. I kind of went with the flow, thought I could work it out myself, and a lot of the time it ended up that I got something a bit wrong, or I didn't quite have it quite there. So it's something I'm learning now, and I have learned in the past, that I need to ask the questions. So whoever your mentor is at school, who your contacts are there, make sure you ask them what is expected. Can you have some examples of planning? Can you have something that it's not done for you, but maybe the previous year, what did they do for the planning in that topic? And have a look at it so you can use it to inspire your own planning. The fourth thing you need to do is to make sure that you are getting your classroom prepared. So again, most schools give you the chance to go back into your classroom. And for me, it's one of the moments I love the most throughout the whole year of teaching is, as you get towards the end of the school holidays, you go back into school and you walk into your classroom for the first time. And it's just one of those feelings where it feels like going home after a long holiday, where you're in your comfortable surroundings. It's what you know, and I absolutely love that first time when you walk in. Brilliant. So yeah, get into your classroom and just start to get it organized, get it tidy. So make sure that everything is in its correct place, because it's one of the few times throughout the year when you get that much time just to dedicate to your classroom. So you want to have it starting off in the best possible shape. So make sure everything is in its correct place. You know where everything is as well. There were some things in my classroom that I didn't even know they were in there after a year and a half, 2 years of being in the classroom. And that's because when I first started, I didn't do a proper check of what was in there. And you don't need to know everything straight away, but the more you know, the more strength you have, the more equipment you can use, the more different diverse lessons that you can think up using the equipment in your classroom and in your school. So yeah, make sure you know where all the equipment is in the classroom. The next thing you want to have a think about is your books. Most schools, especially in your NQT year, will have got your books labelled up and ready for you to begin in September, but this might not have happened. There might, especially with the year we've had, this may definitely not have happened. So think about, what books do you need? Are there different exercise books for every subject? Are there textbooks you need to have a look at? Make sure, again, you're asking the questions and you know what you need to prepare for September. And then go through those books and make sure they're labelled correctly. Are there any missing books? Do you know where the spare books are for when a child might finish a book? Because some children will finish books so quickly you won't believe it. You'll be gone through loads even by October half term. So yeah, you need to know where the spare books are ready, but make sure your books are labelled up and you know exactly where they are in the classroom. So depending on what your routines are, you might have them all out at the start of the day. You might go get them between each lesson and swap them out. There might be book monitors in your class, but wherever they are, you need to know where they are. They're easily accessible for you and for the children if they need to get to them, and that you are ready to use them. Have a look inside them. Do they all have lines in them? Do they all have squares in them? Do they have somewhere it's a lined page and a blank page? This type of thing will inform how you're going to teach your lessons, how the children are going to evidence their learning, what type of lessons, what type of writing they're going to be doing. So yeah, go through your books, make sure you know what type of books they are, how you think you want to use them. So your classroom's all ready, you've been into school, you know the types of things that you're going to get ready for the first week in September. Now, you need to think about that first week, what am I going to be teaching? So, I need to have a drink because my throat is getting incredibly dry, but think about your first week, what we're going to be doing. So you should have a plan for your first week. Obviously there's going to be lots of kind of induction activities, getting to know the children, them getting to know you if it's the first time you've taught them. What types of things are you going to be doing to make sure that first week runs smoothly? Especially as often it is only a few days. So in my first week, this week is only going to be 3 days long. So I need to think, in those 3 days, am I going to start a piece of writing? Am I going to try and get some artwork up on the walls so it's a nice inviting environment for the children? How am I going to get to know them? Now, I'm very lucky this year because I'm continuing with the same class up into year 5. So I already know them and they already know me, so we can hit the ground running on that first day back. But especially if you're in NQT, you need to get to know the routines of the school, how everything works. So you need to think about those first few days, have a bit of flexibility, but make sure you're prepped and ready. All the activities you're planning on doing, get them ready beforehand so you're not rushing around in that week trying to get stuff ready the night before. You also might want to think about where your members of staff will be. So if you're lucky enough to have a teaching assistant or a volunteer working in your classroom, make sure you know what they're going to be doing. Because there's nothing worse than when someone walks into your room and go, "What do you want me to do?" And you stand there going, go read with that child. You need a plan for what they're going to be doing. So go have a look, have a think about maybe where they're going to be, what children you want them to work with, what you want them to be doing. Are they going to be doing maths, English, grammar, reading, foundation topic, catching up some work someone hasn't finished? Could be all sorts, but you need to say, actually, yeah, I know you can go work with them. Oh yeah, on that table, brilliant. Just that kind of level of control will really help you integrate yourself into the classroom, and you working as a team with those other adults in there will be your biggest strength. They are, if you're an NQT, almost certainly more experienced than you. They probably know the children better than you do. They probably know the routines of the school, and that kind of knowledge is invaluable in your NQT year. So make sure you've had a chat with them beforehand, check in with your team, check in with the people that are working around you and say, actually, you know what, this is what I want to do. What do you think? Ask them for any advice, any tweaks you might want to put into your lessons. Have you got the date times for breaks and lunch right? Do you know the routines? Those people around you will be the ones that will help you with that in your first couple of weeks until you've really learnt them. So check in with your team. And after all of that, you should be ready for your first week. You should be ready for your teaching career. There'll be things that I might not have mentioned in this video that other teachers do religiously before September, and hopefully if they see this, and they'll drop them down in the comments down below, and you can have a read of them and see if there's anything they've forgotten. If there's anything you've done in preparing and you think actually that was really useful this year, then again, leave it down below and other people can see it, and we just build up a massive bank of ideas. If you do these things, then hopefully you'll be ready for September when it comes around. And lastly, just have so much fun. If this is your first year teaching a class, you're about to enter into what is, my opinion, is the greatest job in the world. I absolutely love it. Hopefully you will too. Hopefully you'll have an amazing class and they will work well with you and together, and you'll just have an absolute ball. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Hopefully you'll be ready in September to teach an amazing class. And as always, please subscribe to my channel. I'm bringing out videos every Tuesday and every Friday at 5 p.m. and they are just there to help you in your journey to becoming a teacher and in your first few years of teaching to really understand what you are going to be doing as a class teacher. So thank you very much for watching. Leave a like down below if you've enjoyed it, and I will see you guys very soon.